Morning fog here in New Smyrna Beach. Chris got some used fishing gear locally to add to his fishing collection of things to take to Bahamas. Let's see what he got. It was New Year's Eve, so a little later after dinner, I got to enjoy some fireworks. Chris fell asleep early, so I hung out in the cockpit and enjoyed the show. But enough of that. Let's get back to business. You may remember in a previous video, we sprung a leak right here. That's our transmission oil cooler, just flowing salt water all into our bilge. We discovered this about 1 a.m. after heading down the Florida coast, right about here. After discovering that our bilge was filling up with water, we immediately shut down engines, and there was absolutely zero wind this night, so we couldn't even put up sails. As you can see here, things got a little wonky as we drifted for 3 to 4 hours in the Atlantic Ocean. And this was all in the middle of the night. Chris got to work doing some JB Weld patching on the part, but we had to let it cure for 3 hours. After our emergency repair, we were able to get back on track and head down towards the St. Augustine Inlet. When there, Chris was able to do a much better emergency repair while waiting for a new part to come from a website called Mr. Cool.
Old cooler's coming out. Disassemble this line. And disassembled this hose off of that end, flipped it up. That's the part right there. Now I've just got to take it off of the transmission here, and I'll take it off of the cooler there. Look, I got it. Boom, there it is. And since I've already had this wonderful piece off twice now, it was an easy time to take it off the third time. And since I already redid the pipe here and here, I can just swap that out and keep the hoses. I left one in there.
Oh, nice. Look, it's blue.
Yeah, it's blue.
Cool, man.
Cool blue. Right from our anchorage in New Smyrna Beach, we witnessed a SpaceX launch, sending Starlink satellites into orbit over the planet. Pretty cool to see that happening. Sometimes putting things down on paper is the only way to really wrap your head around the project. No matter how many manuals and schematics you look at, really drawing something out based on your boat is the only way to really get a grip on what was there and what needs to be there. So in some of these short videos here, I've been tangling with this project for months and months trying to wrap my head around it. And while we were in New Smyrna, our friend Alex came over after I had drawn it out probably 15 to 30 times. I can't even count how many times I drew this thing out and tried to figure out what went where. By the time we'd reached this point in the game, I was ready to just tear everything out and start from scratch. This is Alex.
It's been that way.
I got a mini bus bar you could have. I can bring it over. It's just sitting in storage for last year.
Yeah, well, if it's something that you know,
Let's look at it and see if it looks like that'll work in there. Yeah. It soon became clear that he was the critical piece of the puzzle that would put this all together. With confidence in our final schematic drawings, we began to work. I began by pulling wires off of the solenoid box located in our hanging locker in the V-berth, then measuring out new marine grade wire to replace the old wires that run up front to the anchor locker, where they send the power and ground the switches to the windlass and to the washdown pump. So quickly, for those who don't know, a windlass is the motor-driven device that raises your anchor and lowers your anchor. The washdown pump just allows you to spray off your anchor if you bring up any mud or sand or debris or seaweed and stuff. So getting back to the wiring job, we ran the wires first to the windlass as to not confuse ourselves. They pass through a small hole that leads out to the anchor locker and run under a panel in the V-berth back into the hanging locker, where I had installed the new bus bar and hooked everything up. Meanwhile, Alex had been an absolute champion up front. He had received the wires I sent up and had already put them together to the appropriate switches into the foot pedal. There's a little foot pedal that you can step on also to raise and lower the anchor. So with that done, it was time to try and crack the nut on the washdown pump. Amy somehow convinced him also to crawl way up into the tiny space in the V-berth and rewire the pump and send the new wires up through the floor into the anchor locker to the switches. Meanwhile, I went back into my cave and received the wires and hooked them up to the appropriate places on the bus bar and on the box. All in all, I couldn't be happier with the outcome of this entire project. I was going into it just totally scared, and I'm not an electrician at all. And so I was fairly intimidated. No, I was super intimidated and didn't think that I could ever figure this out. But big thanks to Alex again, and for him working with me on this to really not only make it nice and neat and new, but also to just figure some things out and learn some things that I didn't know. So let's test it out, see how she works. Cross your fingers for us. I hope this works.
Oh my god, look how good that's working. That is fucking amazing.
Yep.
So great.
And the final product is foot pedal. Oh wait, foot pedal activated. It works.
Nice.
Get it.
After a hard day's work, it was time to get a little silly with our new boat neighbors and great new friends.
Ready? Walk on the ocean. Step on a stone.
Step on a stone.
Flesh becomes water.
Flesh becomes water.
Bone becomes bone. I'm getting my voice getting drunk.
Bone.
Walk on the ocean.
Walk on the ocean.
Step on a stone.
Step on a stone.
Flesh becomes water.
Flesh becomes water.
Wood becomes bone.
Wood becomes bone.
Man, I love you guys, man.
We are wrapping up our time in New Smyrna Beach with a quick family visit to the boat.
Helps fold it right in. They're right on top of it sitting there. They're called lazy jacks.
Yeah.
You can be lazy and just drop your sail and just point into the wind and down it goes. This one's just backup, extra halyard. So it does the same thing as this one here. Should this one fail. Yeah, it comes with a big old computer screen too, and just use our eyes and our ears. Stay on lookout.
With the bulk of our Bahamas provisioning done, it was time to head out for dinner for the evening.
Bye again, Jeep. Thank you for everything, Mr. Jeep. Good car, right here.
My car. Leave the car again in Florida.
With our projects in New Smyrna Beach wrapped up and a great holiday visit with family, it was time to head off yet again. The family headed to a dock a little farther south to send us off. We are heading a little further south to wait out our weather window to cross to the Bahamas. See you then.